On tonight's Gwinnett Prep Rally, feast and famine as playoff season approaches. On one hand, North Gwinnett did as expected, rolling through the regular season and its way to a Region 7 title. Who's going to stop the Dogs? It won't be Peachtree Ridge, and it wasn't on Friday. Alert the media. Buford did its thing Friday. They'll go into the final 32 as the runaway favorite. Elsewhere, Landmark Christian in Class A went into the cradle of Northside private school champions and came out with a W. A complete game equals playoffs for Landmark, and woe to be GAC. A terrific season ends too early, and we've got the painful truth. Because video never lies, and neither do Will and Todd. The playoffs are here. Check out Gwinnett Prep Rally right now.
For more than 15 years, your source for Gwinnett County sports is Gwinnett Prep Rally.
Hello again and welcome to your county's original high school sports television program. This is Gwinnett Prep Rally, now in its 19th season and exclusively on GCPS TV for the entire 2011-2012 school year. I'm Todd Klein alongside Will Hammock from the Gwinnett Daily Post. And Will, the state cross country championships took place this past weekend, and a couple of Gwinnett teams and one individual took home the top prizes.
Yeah, it was a great effort. Start with the team championships. Brookwood boys and the Wesleyan boys, both phenomenal performances. Morgan Malinowski had another high finish for the Broncos, and Brookwood just kind of showed they're the dominant 5A cross-country program, and Gwinnett's becoming a hotbed for cross-country. Mill Creek and Norcross boys both finished in the top 3, so excellent showings for those teams. And Wesleyan with another dominant performance on the boys' side. You go to the girls, Caroline Kissel did well for Brookwood and led the Brookwood girls to the highest finish out of our local teams.
Well, our special thanks to the Gwinnett Daily Post for providing those great pictures. Well, now we'll turn our attention to football. The regular season came to an end this past Friday night with the Region 7 title still up for grabs. Peachtree Ridge and North Gwinnett had both made it through their region schedules unbeaten, but something would have to give when the two teams squared off with the championship on the line. GPR's Brian Weiss has more.
Scott Hush and the Bulldogs trying to capture their third straight region title. We picked this one up second quarter, North with the ball. The pitch is to Donnie Miles, but a nice open field tackle by Darian Pogman for the Lions. Next play to give is to Joe Jones, who shoots up the middle untouched, has one man to beat. Touchdown, Bulldogs 54-yard touchdown run, and North Gwinnett leads 7-0. Next North possession, the handoff is to Jones, up the middle again, but this time he gets caught from behind down around midfield. Later in the drive, the handoff is to Miles, finds a seam through the middle, and gets down near the 20-yard line. Next play, it's Hush with the option pitch to Miles down the sideline. Miles is going to be pushed out of bounds. A few plays later, it's Hush play action, back to pass, throws complete to a wide-open Russell King in the end zone, and the Bulldogs lead 14-0 at the half. Second half, Lions with the ball. Billy Best back to pass, throws, and jumping in front of the receiver for the interception is Carl Ryder, who breaks a tackle and finally gets taken down inside the red zone. A couple of plays later, it's Hush rolling to his left, throws complete to Jones, touchdown North. Bulldogs up 21-0. Later in the quarter, the handoff is to Miles. Miles finds a seam up the middle. He's all alone, one man to beat, but he finally gets brought down near the 20-yard line. Next play, it's Hush with the option keeper, gets to the outside, makes a man miss, and from 19 yards out, touchdown, Bulldogs. North Gwinnett clinches the region title after winning this one 28-0 over the Lions of Peachtree Ridge.
Well, Will, this was for the Region 7 title, and it was just a dominant performance by North Gwinnett on both sides of the ball. We've come to expect that from the defense. You've talked up their defense all year, and then their running game just looked very stout against Peachtree Ridge.
Yeah, Peachtree Ridge has to run the ball to be successful, and they just couldn't do that against that stout North Gwinnett defense. They've been doing it all season, a very fast, very physical defense. It's got to be the best defense right up there with Grayson and Gwinnett County. Those two could really go at it. And I think offensively you saw, again, North Gwinnett's great balance. Joe Jones and Donnie Miles both ran the ball well. Scotty Hush, a great passer, so they just really got the job done. Another region title for North.
Well, both of these teams will have home playoff games, but there's no doubt how big this contest was. Not only the bragging rights of a region championship, but very, very decidedly different opponents in the first round, with North Gwinnett getting Archer, while Peachtree Ridge, their reward for being number 2 in their region, is going to be a really tough battle against Brookwood.
Yeah, I think North Gwinnett shouldn't have any problems taking care of Archer, but like you said, a very interesting 2 versus 3 matchup with Peachtree Ridge playing Brookwood. Peachtree Ridge could have been playing a third-year school. Instead, they're playing the defending state champions, and it's going to be a tough test. They had a tough time stopping the run here against North Gwinnett, and they're really going to have to shore that up against Brookwood because, you know, the Broncos are going to try to run it right at them.
Well, back to the highlights, and the Buford Wolves blew out Blessed Trinity in their regular season opener, but they would have to face the Titans one more time in game number 10 with the Region 6 AA championship hanging in the balance. GPR's Nathan Shutter has all the action from Roswell.
Buford on the road at Blessed Trinity for the Region 6 championship. The Wolves will strike first. Andre Johnson plunging into the end zone from 1 yard out, put the visitors up 7-0. Second quarter, Buford on the move. Sam Clay will pitch it to Dontravius Wilson. He gets around the left side and uses a stiff arm to get in for the touchdown. Wolves up 14-0. Blessed Trinity trying to get something going. Spencer McManus looking to pass, but Rick LeGrant lays the hit and jars the ball loose. Mikey Bart picks it up and heads the other way, all the way for the touchdown. Buford takes a 21-0 advantage. Titans trying to answer. McManus rolling to his left and finds John Davis open on the sideline for the first down. Later in the drive, McManus lofts it up to the end zone, and Chris Dorr makes the catch for the Titan touchdown. Blessed Trinity cuts the lead to 21-7, but Buford would have an answer before the half. Rick LeGrant takes the handoff, looks to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but fights off two would-be tacklers and takes off downfield, showing off some moves and breaking free for the touchdown. Wolves up 28-7 at the break. Buford now up 35-7. Backup quarterback Taylor Mitchell now in the game. He's rolling left, throws across his body to Grant Hall. He'll take out the pylon, but they mark him down short of the end zone. It was only delaying the inevitable. Andrew Sciarra bulldozes his way in for the touchdown. Buford now up 42-7, and they weren't done. They give to Thomas Wilson, and he will cap off the scoring for the Wolves as they claim the region title over Blessed Trinity by a final of 49-10.
Well, Will, a very nice win there by Buford, another region title. Maybe not a lot to discuss about this game. It was totally a blowout. So my question to you is, why on earth is Buford going on the road in the 10th game to play at Blessed Trinity?
Yeah, it's a silly system. They decided that half of the sub-region was going to host long before the season, which is kind of a silly move. I mean, there has to be some sort of bylaw. If you play a team during the regular season and you beat them, you should be able to host that game. I mean, Buford was the higher seed. They beat Blessed Trinity in the regular season, so anybody with any sense would know that surely Buford would host that game, but it wasn't the case, unfortunately.
Well, it worked out in the end for the Buford Wolves, who will move into the state playoffs as the favorite to win another state title. More highlights now, and the state playoffs don't officially start until this week, but for the Wesleyan Wolves, they began this past Friday night in their region playing game against visiting Landmark Christian. It's win or go home for the Wolves, and our Brian Wise was there.
It was win and you're in for Wesleyan and Landmark Christian. The Eagles would get things started. The handoff is to Jeremiah Kirkland up the middle, finds a hole, heading down the sideline, finally gets knocked out of bounds. Later in the drive, the handoff is to Chase McFarland for the touchdown, capping an 85-yard drive by the Eagles, who now lead 6-0. Wesleyan looking to answer. Will Anderson back to pass, throws complete along the sideline for the first down. A couple of plays later, it's Anderson with the inside pitch to Xander Yost. Yost fights off some tackles and breaks into the open field, finally gets caught from behind. Later in the drive, Eric Sunderman would attempt a 52-yard field goal, barely missing wide right. Wolves still down 6-0. On Wesleyan's next drive, Anderson back to pass. Hurry throws complete to a wide open Eric Gossett. 54 yards on the throw and catch. Wolves lead 7-6 midway through the second quarter. On the ensuing possession for the Eagles, the handoff is straight up the middle. The ball gets stripped by the Wolves defense, and Wesleyan would recover on their own 22. A couple of plays later, it's Anderson back to pass, throws complete to Eric Sunderman, who picks up the first down. Next play, Anderson has trouble with the snap. Right there to pounce on the ball is the Landmark defense. After the turnover, Cantrell Frazier drops back to pass, throws deep downfield. What a great catch, and able to hang on to the ball. Later in the drive, from 2 yards out, Donald Payne shoots right up the middle and in for the score. Eagles lead 13-7. Landmark would add a field goal and earn a trip to the state playoffs after winning this one 16-7 over Wesleyan.
Well, it was a successful season for Wesleyan, Will, but it did not end the way the Wolves would have liked, fall just short of the playoffs, but in kind of a little bit of a rebuilding year, still pretty strong season for the Wolves.
Yeah, Wesleyan lost so much off that last year's team that had been on those great playoff runs, so not a lot was expected out of this group, but still had a pretty good season at 8-2, had to be proud. Probably got everything they could out of this group, and the future's definitely bright. They had a little bit of a size disadvantage there against Landmark, but a lot of the younger kids at Wesleyan are big, give them some size, and that's going to be a good mix with quarterback Will Anderson and those guys coming back.
Well, the GAC Spartans have been one of the top teams in AA all season long, with their only loss coming to unbeaten Buford. But their state playoff hopes were on the line this past Friday night as they went on the road to Lovett for the region play-in game. Nathan Shutter has the call.
The formula was simple for GAC. Win and you're in against Lovett. First quarter, things did not start well for the Spartans. The handoff is to Grant Haley for Lovett. Haley breaks a tackle, cuts back across field, down the sideline, in a foot race to the end zone. He will win the race. Touchdown Lions. Lovett up 7-0 early. On the ensuing possession, the Spartans trying to answer. Delano Spencer play action, rolls to his right, throws complete on the run to Andrew Lewis, who turns upfield for the nice gain. A few plays later, the handoff is to Levondre Nelson, who gets around the edge close to a first down. Later in the drive, it's Spencer with the quarterback keeper up the middle, fighting his way inside the 5-yard line. 4th and goal for the Spartans. The handoff is to Nelson, who is stopped short of the end zone. Lions hold and still lead 7-0. The Spartans would answer with a stop of their own as Jonathan Ford and Deshaun Daniels combined to stop the Lions short of the first down. Next Spartans drive, it's Spencer with the option keeper to the right side, picking up the first down for GAC. A few plays later, it's Spencer again with the keeper, finds a hole and into the end zone for the touchdown. Spartans tie the game at 7. However, it would be missed opportunities for the Spartans that would haunt them as Lovett defeats GAC 35-28.
Well, what we see there, tough loss for GAC. I guess we'll continue the theme of these playing games. I'm not a huge fan of them. I don't think you are. Seems a little ridiculous that GAC had such a great season, but they're going to be sitting home for the playoffs.
Yeah, we talked earlier, Buford can probably play anywhere and win, but GAC, I mean, that would have meant a lot to them to have home field advantage in this game. They were the 2 seed from their side. Lovett was the 3 seed from their side, so you would assume this game would be played at GAC, and I think it probably would have given the Spartans an advantage. It was a very close game. GAC still had a good season, but just fell a little short in this last game.
All right, when we come back, we'll sit down with a Norcross star who hopes to lead his team to a deep playoff run. Plus, we'll get in the mind of our very own Will Hammock, and we'll also unveil this week's building blocks. You are watching Prep Rally on GCPS TV. For 19 years, the county's high school sports television program.
For 2 decades, Calder Sports has been making dreams possible for thousands of Gwinnett County student athletes.
Sometimes we've been over the top.
Thrill is gone.
Steve Coulter sings,
And the leader of the clan will take no prisoners on this day.
Sometimes we've been straight to the point.
Beverly Coulter is the most persuasive sporting goods salesman in Gwinnett County history, and that's including her son, Steve.
But most of all, we've cared deeply about every Gwinnett parent and student who walked through this front door.
Over all these years,
we thank you for your support.